Brilliant speed with vibrant service, vibrant broadband internet.
Hey, it's that time. It's 10:30, and you guys, you're on.
Hi, buddy.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Good.
Thanks for having us again. Welcome to another Vibrant You. I'm Jane.
I'm Shane.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Bo.
So this week we're going to talk about troubleshooting.
Okay.
We get a lot of phone calls asking how to do stuff, so we just thought we'd pick the top couple and talk about them. And if you have any questions about troubleshooting, certainly jump in and ask.
Okay.
So anyway, Nathan, what are some of the troubleshooting questions that you get?
Yeah, so Jay mentioned we get calls all the time. So one of the probably most common ones I get is oftentimes people don't understand how much internet speed they actually need. Internet providers will advertise their certain speeds. Oh, we have the highest speed. You need 1 gig. We now offer 1 gig, 10 gig. Some of these ridiculously sounding numbers that the average person really doesn't understand. So when you actually break it down, the most common question that I feel like I get is, how much speed do I need to actually stream? If I want to watch Netflix, if I want to watch YouTube, if my child's watching Disney in the other room and I want to watch Netflix in here, how much internet do I need to do that? So for the average video stream, whether it's your traditional high definition video, which is what most people are watching in, you need probably 8 to 10 megabits per second per each screen. So that you would double it if someone's watching in another room. You would triple it if there's 3 people watching at the same time. So that's 8 to 10 per TV that's streaming something. Now, if you're watching in 4K, which is like ultra high definition, extremely high quality, which is still pretty rare because you have to have a 4K TV, a 4K streaming device. You have to usually pay extra to stream something in 4K. But if you do want to do something in 4K, then you need more like 25 megabits per second. And just to give you an idea, that 1 gig I mentioned, you see often advertised, oh, you gig this, gig that, you need a gig. That's 1,000 megabits per second.
How many?
So 1,000. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 1 gig is almost always overkill for like almost everybody. How marketing works, it seems like, Vibrant, we pride ourselves in staying honest, trying to get people in the right package. We don't want people overpaying for stuff they're never going to need or never going to use. It's a little bit different than your average company is just going to try to get you on, the higher package and try to convince you need it. So that's one of the most common questions I get. Another one I get is, well, how do I get internet in my garage? Or how do I don't get internet in my kid's bedroom upstairs in the corner of my house? Or, my basement internet's not that great. Well, back in the day, we really just needed internet in like the office, maybe the living room, because we had a desktop computer for the family, stuff like that. Well, now, we can put a TV in any room of the house and want to stream. We can put a TV in the garage. You can put a smart speaker in your garage like I do, so listen to music when I'm working in the garage. You may have a camera on your front porch. You may have a camera on the back of the house. So you need internet in more places than you used to need it. So right now, what we would definitely recommend is getting like a mesh Wi-Fi system. And if you don't own one or you don't want to buy one, that's great. Vibrant does offer these to our subscribers. So basically what it is you have your main Wi-Fi router that's installed, where you normally would have your router. But then if you're trying to get internet, to that upstairs bedroom or to the basement or to your garage, you may put a mesh Wi-Fi extender halfway between that first router and the garage, and it'll basically extend that coverage that much further out. So some people think, well, my internet's not any good because it doesn't reach my garage. Well, it really has nothing to do with your internet service. It may just be a Wi-Fi range issue, which is easily solved by getting an extender. And then probably the third most frequent question I get is, my internet seems slow sometimes. Am I using all my internet? Do I need a higher package? So we talked earlier about the different speeds and different packages. Well, people say, well, sometimes my internet seems slow in my garage or whatever. I must need a higher package. But we find is most people that call us and say they need a higher speed, oftentimes is not the case. It may be other things. It may be the device they're using is having problems. Maybe it's an older smart TV that's not up to date that runs slow. It may be that they're on the edge of their Wi-Fi range. Maybe they're really far from the router, and sometimes it kind of works, but sometimes it's on the edge and it's working very poorly. So there's oftentimes a lot more involved than just your internet speed. So if you're having issues specifically on one device, it's not consistent, give us a call. We can help troubleshoot that and figure out, okay, what's the actual problem. We can see if you're actually using all your internet, because maybe you are. Maybe you would have benefit from a package upgrade. But that's not always the reason why you may be experiencing some lag. It could be hardware or something else related.
Yeah, and those are questions I get every day, but I get a few other ones as well, referencing control of your devices. You have your Wi-Fi, but if you have kids, they really want to be on their devices and their iPad probably 24 hours a day. So you can tell them sometimes all you want to get off of their devices, but there is a way to control that. So I'll get parents calling in all the time, like, hey, is there any way I can control times a day that devices can be used or what can be accessed? And the answer to that is yes. We actually have an app that goes along with our router, and it gives you a bunch of those controls. So you can control time limits, you can do content, parental safety limits. You can do a whole bunch of different things. If the kids aren't doing their chores, you can freeze a certain device. You can name them so you can access them quickly and find out which one you have to turn off. And if they're not going to bed, you can set, hey, bedtime's 8 p.m. All devices stop accessing the internet after that time. So there's a whole lot of things you can do that not many people actually realize. So we do get that question quite often. We just like to educate people that that's something that's pretty easy to do as well. It's a pretty easy interface to use. And then I guess another question I get would be, streaming is something we use every day, but lots of times people call in with, hey, my streaming device just seems to be working really slowly, and they're just like, I'm not quite sure what to do. So the first thing I always look at is it the streaming device or is it Netflix? Is it Hulu? Sometimes the streaming service is having issues. So I always have people go out of Netflix and into another streaming service. If that one's working fine, it's probably just a little glitch in your streaming service. But if both of them are working poorly or it's a consistent issue, I then ask, how old is the streaming device? Is it your TV? Is it a Roku? Is it an Amazon Fire Stick? And they're like, yeah, it's maybe 5 years old. And a lot of times they'll look at the receipt and like, actually, it's like 10 years old. And time kind of flies with those things. Oh, yeah. So if it's not able to take an update, then you may just want to look at getting a new one. Those aren't all that expensive. $30, $40 will get you a brand new one. A lot of times with 4K capability and just newer features. So that's one question I get a lot. And then I guess this question I get upon like sign up a lot of times when people have a different internet company that has data limits and they're having to track, each month how much they use because they're going to get charged over or it's going to stop or slow down pretty significantly. And so when we talk about like what Nathan mentioned, a gig or 200 meg or 100 meg, a lot of times people think that's more of a usage limit and how much, they're like, I don't know if I'm going to use that in a month. And I try to just kind of re-educate them that that's not any kind of limit. You can use the internet 1 hour a day or 24 hours a day with Vibrant, and it's not going to matter because there's no limit on the amount you can use. It's just how many people and how many devices are connected. So just kind of reframing that question in how many people are in your household, not having to track your usage, because I mean, if I had to track all the usage every month, that would be a big pain. So luckily with Vibrant, you don't have to do that. Jane, so what are some of the questions you get fairly often?
Sure. So this is kind of a funny story, actually. So last Wednesday, we had our Dreaming of Streaming event, and there's a part in the session that we go into the websites to look to see what options there are for streaming. Mm-hmm. And when Shane pulled that up, he just sat there and it was clocking. So in front of over 20 people, we just sat there. And so then I'm trying to make a funny, and I'm like, it's not the internet. I can guarantee you it's not the internet.
It was the Wi-Fi connection from the computer to the internet. It booted me off for whatever reason. I had to go ahead and restart it. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I go, are you connected? So the phone calls that we get, I don't have internet. So it's just like, are you sure? So you have to really check. So if something's not working, you have to look to see if your phone has your internet, or because it might be that specific situation where there's one device that has jumped off of that. So it was kind of a funny story. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is I'm buffering help, what's happening. And a lot of people, again, blame the internet, but in reality, it could be something behind the scenes. So do a router test, make sure again that you have your internet, take one of your newest devices, do the router or the speed test right by the router, and then go to the furthest location in your house, do another test, and then that will help you determine, if you do have if you do have buffering issues or if it's specifically to that one TV or whatnot. So then the other questions that I get is my streaming remote won't control my TV volume or the arrow keys won't work. And this is so simple. First off, it's did you check your batteries? Because in all reality, we use that all the time.
Never been down that road.
Yeah. Well, there was one person that she was perfect. She called and she's like, I've already done all of that. I've checked my batteries. I've replaced my batteries. And I'm like, well, let's check them again. So she changed them and enough, so that the batteries worked. So it's all these weird, interesting, small things. Mm-hmm. So Shane, how about you?
Well, I've got some tips to cover some of this stuff. So, like the first line of defense, so to speak, is, when you're having internet access problems, we give a booklet out with our internet to show you how to reboot your router. So start with that. Reboot the router, let it go through its rebooting phase. A lot of times that fixes any kind of what you might consider connection problems. Mm-hmm. It also allows the Wi-Fi in the router itself to reset. So then you can connect the devices, and a lot of times that just fixes it right there. So tip number one, do the reboot. The second thing for streaming issues, go to the streaming device website and look under their support tab, and then just do a quick search on whatever issue you might be having. I can't download a channel, or my remote no longer turns the TV on or off. They have videos on there a lot of times that will explain how to reset that, or go through the menu system. So go to the streaming website, and that's kind of your second line of defense when it comes to streaming issues. Go to Google and do a search. A lot of times when we get questions, even if they call in and say, hey, I'm having this issue, what we do to help them, we go to Google and we do a search, and it's the same search that they could do themselves. So especially after hours, like on weekends and evenings when we aren't available, just go to Google and do a search. YouTube is your friend. I talk about this all the time. I stream more YouTube than anything else on TV. I don't hardly do live TV anymore. I stream YouTube, and there's so much information on YouTube. You could look up any kind of troubleshooting questions, including, troubleshooting questions on your vehicle.
Sure.
Things like that.
I use it for that a lot.
You just had that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's so my vehicle was having issues. It's like, okay, what's going on? Do this thing. And, oh, okay, it's just this simple, you know? Mm-hmm. And so YouTube is a really good friend. You could phone a friend, a relative, or your kids or grandkids. Because
this is like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Exactly. Phone a friend. Because they're going to be accessible, and especially your kids or grandkids, and chances are they know how to do all this stuff inside and out, and they can certainly help you, especially with streaming TV, because, kids nowadays, they're not getting cable or satellite. They are streaming, because that is the future, correct?
Yep.
And then if you don't take any other tip, here's the biggest one that I can give out to anybody. Use AI. Okay, and so you hear about all this.
You understand it.
Well, and it's really simple, and I'll explain right here in a moment. But AI is, you hear about, AI, is that going to take over the world? Is this, the Terminator? Well, it's not, right? There is a lot more good in AI than bad. So I download Google's Gemini on your phone or Microsoft's Copilot. They're both free. And it's so much faster than actually going to Google, because you ask a question like you're asking a friend. Hey, I'm having, this, I'm trying to do this, and I'm having this issue. Can you tell me how to, fix this? It's really an easy prompt, and it takes a mere seconds, and it'll give you a list of maybe 3 possibilities that could be happening, along with links to the sources, right? And so a lot of times AI basically scours the internet for these answers and brings it all back into one succinct. So like a lot of times if you Google something, it's like, what link do I click on? The first 3 or 4 are ads. Yeah. Then there could be some that are maybe some Facebook pages, and it's like, I want to get to the answer. And you have to kind of read through the little synopsis under each link, and it takes a little bit of time. But when you use AI, especially these apps, Google's Gemini and Microsoft's Copilot, they'll take you right to the answer a lot of times, as long as the question is asked correctly.
I think the world should take note of the fact that people in my generation are afraid of something called artificial. It should be CI, computerized intelligence.
And you're absolutely right, because AI...
They are. I have heard people... This artificial stuff, the people are afraid of that in my generation.
Well, and AI has been around since the 50s.
And I know that because I've read into it. But,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nothing new, but it's artificial.
Yeah, it's a buzzword right now.
It's not real,
It's
right?
Yeah.
We want real.
Exactly. But the information does come from real.
Right.
Right. And AI can do a lot of things. It can make pictures. It can create stories. It can do those kinds of things. But when it comes to troubleshooting tips, I use AI more than anything else. Now, I personally use Microsoft Copilot because that just happens to be on my Apple phone. You know,
Sure.
I download that. Apple's intelligence, I haven't used that a lot. It's new. And so you can prompt that too. But Google's Gemini is the same thing. It's Googling for you.
Right.
Is what it's doing. So, yeah, those are my tips, and take those with you, and have fun troubleshooting.
There you go.
Yeah, and I had a story the other day. I was trying to make coffee in my coffee maker, and just would not work. Could not get it to function, and I'm having trouble functioning without the coffee. So I was like, what do I do? So I was like, there is a manual. Exactly. No, I want a good coffee.
He's elite.
Good coffee. What generation is he?
Yes.
I'm
Little
not rooting for the
Sanka in the
folders.
cold, there in the hot water.
So what I did is, like, I can't even find the manual. I have no idea where. I probably threw it away. So I went on YouTube, and there was like 5 videos telling me how to fix it, and I just went to the first one, and then 10 minutes later, got it fixed. And you know, those problems can be solved a lot quicker than driving to a store trying to get someone that would probably be looking at the same YouTube video I was. So, yeah, if you have issues, that's definitely one of the places to go. And we're also happy to take any of those questions. If you do look that up, can't figure it out, can't Google it, then you certainly can call us. We can help answer. We have 24/7 tech support that can answer those questions too. But yeah, I would encourage you, if you haven't used AI or Google or YouTube, next time you're just trying to figure something out, even if it's not internet related, just give it a shot and see what happens.
There you go.
Yeah, and if you're listening today and you thought, I've had some of these same questions. I want to know how much internet I need. Am I overpaying for internet? I have data limits with my current provider. Can I get a plan with unlimited data? If you have questions about streaming, internet service, give us a call. We're not into pressuring people. If you're not interested in Vibrant service, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. But I think most of the time, between our local support here and our completely fiber backbone network, we're usually going to be, a better service and a better deal for most people. So give us a call, ask us questions, pick our brain. You can reach us locally, 693-3231, or you can visit our website, vibrantbroadband.com. If you missed part of today's radio show, or you want to check out some other radio shows we've had quite a lot now, check us out on Facebook or YouTube. You can search Vibrant Broadband. And of course, as always, listen live on Wednesdays here on KLFB at 10:30 every Wednesday.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff, for having us. And thank you,
Absolutely.
audience, for tuning in.
See you next week.
My name is Shane.
I'm Jane.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Bo.
Tune in next week for another Vibrant U Live.
Brilliant speed with vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.